What is up, Flyover family? Welcome to the very first episode of the in-season grind show. Super excited to start off the series with a bang and a win. Obviously, our Philadelphia Eagles just took on the Dallas Cowboys at home on banner night. We won 24-20. Let's just get on into it and so much more. So, in my opinion, the biggest thing that stood out to me, our quarterback, our leader, he's making, 50 plus million a year, obviously well deserved and things of that nature. He was 19 for 23. I do think it's worth noting or worth bringing up that 3 of them were throwaways, or however the case that he didn't even intend to throw it to a target. Not a problem, it happens. And then there was one drop by Saquon. Again, that happens as part of football. No one has a 100 billion% catch rate. Other than that, he was 19 for 19. But even then, factoring in those drops or however the case, and then the 3 throwaways or however, or the 1 drop and 3 throwaways, sorry. But even then, including those 4, 82.6% completion, I'll take that for a week 1. Didn't play in the preseason. I'll take that. Didn't look rusty at all. He made big plays. He extended drives. He even did like the Jordan shrug or however, because Michael Jordan was in attendance and things of that nature. But yeah, in my opinion, he definitely balled out, during banner night and things of that nature with Michael Jordan in attendance. Like I said, he didn't look, rusty or however the case, despite not, playing in the preseason. He looked pretty great, AJ not really, appearing in the game or however the case. Obviously, he caught the 1 catch or however the case for a few yards. But other than that, the fact, he really wasn't targeted at all in the first half. That is very concerning. And obviously, Lane Johnson going out, that's very concerning as well. I don't really know many details on why they didn't target him or however the case. And then Landon, I think it had something to do with his back or something. Feel free to comment down below what it actually was. But yeah, Dotson, he had 59 receiving yards for 3 receptions. Goddard, he had 44 for 7 receptions. So it does look like out of all of the receivers and tight ends and all that, Goddard's being targeted the most, despite having, to our knowledge, a healthy Smitty, to our knowledge, a healthy AJ, because we were told he's go for week 1 or however the case. So. And then Saquon Barkley, he had 24 yards for 4 receptions. And then he had 60 rushing yards. But Jalen Hurts, he had 62 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns and a 94.2 rating and things of that nature. But yeah, and I honestly didn't know that to actually check the stats. But dang, Jalen Hurts actually, led the game in yards, I'm pretty sure. Rushing yards specifically. But yeah, and then even then, 60-yard game to warm up the season for Saquon. He didn't really, get hit too hard. So not too much wear and tear for 1 game. But yeah, offensively, we did get 20 first downs, 6 by passing, 14 by rushing, and 0 by penalty. What that tells me is that we didn't really struggle to move the ball. The only issue I foresaw, or however the case was, maybe vanilla play calling, but 302 yards of total offense off 63 plays, good for 4.8 per play. I think it was 6.4, 6.5 per pass play, or however the case, and then I think it was 4 point something for the rushing play average. But anyway, a total of 3 rushing touchdowns, 156 passing yards. Pretty good way to start off the season. Defensively, though, we did kind of start off slow in the first half. 22 first downs allowed, 7 by rushing, 9 by passing, 6 by penalty. Some of them were kind of, oh dang, that's kind of a fair call, but kind of a couple that were kind of ticky-tacky, kind of, soft or however the case, but, it's the modern NFL for you. Did allow, 5.4 yards per carry. I thought that was pretty concerning. off of 22 attempts, so it's not like, they have like one good run or however the case. I mean, 22 attempts or however the case for a game is a decent sample size, and allowing that is not acceptable. Can't expect to win many games, allowing 5.4 per carry. One forced fumble and fumble recovery by Quinyon Mitchell. I thought that was pretty exciting and things of that nature. And in my opinion, there was at least 3 catchable interceptions. 2 of them Quinyon could have caught, and then one of them Reed could have caught. But I mean, hey, it is week 1 and things of that nature, and didn't play too much in the preseason. And then I don't think Reed played at all in the preseason, really. 307 yards total offensive yards allowed. 2 rushing touchdowns allowed. No passing touchdowns. So what that tells me is that our DBs, despite the D line taking 6 business days to get pressure, our DBs are still worth a damn. Even without getting pressure, almost right away. With our game record, Jalen Carter, and then Jalen Carter makes it easier for the rest of the defensive line to get pressure and things of that nature. Because in 2022, if you guys remember, we had like an historic pass rushing defense and things of that nature, historic. And then the next year, whenever, the rushers weren't getting home, obviously lost, Javon Hargrave, and things of that nature, new guys came in and they proved that they couldn't get pressure. And what do you know? Our DBs proved to be not that good, which is why, we selected 2 back-to-back in the following draft or however the case. And this game proves that, the DBs are, still worth it. But in my opinion, linebacker star of the show, Zach Bond, he had 6 tackles and things of that nature. Jahad Campbell, like he put a pretty big hit on a guy. I thought that was pretty exciting. But yeah, the most exciting, thing to watch out of the case was definitely the linebackers and things of that nature. In my opinion, the DBs, got to get warmed back up or got to get coached back up or however the case, and get in regular season form or however you want to word it, so they can actually get plays on the ball, because I mean, instead of wasting good coverage, I mean, get the pass breakup, get the interception or however the case may be. Sometimes, I get it, they're going to catch the ball. No one's going to have 100 billion% interception or pass breakup ratio. And even then, wide receivers can make plays. That's fair. But not every single wide receiver in the league is Randy Moss and Jerry Rice and things of that nature. There is such thing as a good defensive back. But yeah. But like I said, the offense, while it was vanilla or however the case, in my opinion, I thought it looked pretty good or however the case. It was smart and conservative. That's why I thought, kind of felt like a warm-up game, at least for the offense. And defensively, it just the whole time, except like the whole first half. Let me phrase that correctly. The whole first half felt like they were just fighting for life, or however the case. And then in the second half, it felt like they kind of woke up, made the adjustments that they needed to, and I'm just happy that the team as a whole was able to pull out the win. Even despite the weather delay, despite not having the lead at the half and things of that nature. But first and foremost, the biggest thing on the defensive side, or however the case, Jalen Carter spitting on Dak after Dak spat first, or however the case, is understandable. Whether or not Dak did it or not, I mean, I don't blame Jalen Carter. I don't blame him. But at the very same time, 2 things can be true. On the flip side, it got him ejected, so in my opinion, it wasn't worth it. In terms of the rest of the defense, like I said, I thought Bond and Jahad played really well. Bond had 6 tackles, and like I said, Jahad Campbell, he put a pretty big hit on a guy. The defensive line, I mean, almost nothing to be excited for. I mean, Nolan Smith, he made a play or however the case, but then, got flagged or however the case. But, secondary, because of Dory Jackson, C+. Having him out there, period, him existing on the 53, him existing out there on the field is automatically lowering the score. It could be a 0-point game, but the fact he's out there, it lowers the grade automatically. He's that bad. Um, Best group, like I said, were the linebackers or however the case. But, to the DB's credit or however the case, that they proved that they're worth a damn, in a situation without Jalen Carter. So it's no longer an if, what if situations occur like this one? It happened once, it can happen again. And obviously I wouldn't want that to happen or however, but I'm just saying, it's good to have multiple people on the D line. In my opinion, pay two elite guys on the D line. Someone at least somewhat on Jalen Carter's level. Because if that can happen, shoot, you could have at least two double-digit sack guys or however the case. That makes it easier for the edge guys and things of that nature. So you could have a pretty insane D-line at least for 3 or 4 years while they're all together. And that's if, through the draft and not through free agency. But yeah, all credit where it's due or however the case. They did all as a unit wake up for the second half and things of that nature. Like I said, even despite, the weather delay, despite not having Jalen Carter, despite being down at the half or however the case, despite, a couple ticky-tacky fouls here and there or penalties or however the case, they didn't allow any second half points, so fair and square, credit where it's due. They got stops in the second half, whenever they needed it the most. Jalen Hurts, he stepped up, he made big plays on the offensive side. So all that being said, factoring all that in, Jalen Hurts leading the game or however the case with 62 rushing yards and things of that nature, 2 rushing touchdowns, absolute baller. I gotta say, offense probably gets a B+. The only thing I gotta say is, need some different run concepts versus just Saquon running up the middle every time, O-line health and depth, maybe bring a couple more guys in and things of that nature, if Len's going to get hurt every day and things of that nature. I hope not, but I'm just saying, the guy can't tie his shoes without getting hurt. He's a tough guy, future Eagles legend, I hope. I'm rooting for him, I want us to win as many Super Bowls as possible, but come on, man. Can't even tie his shoes without getting hurt. A.J. Brown, pretty much non-factor for most of the game. He did make a darn good play or however the case, at the end of the game. But, is he okay? Is there like an undisclosed injury, to my knowledge, there's nothing official yet. If there is, please drop down the link or however the case. But, yeah. So, offense gets a B+, defense, I gotta say, we do need more pressure. DBs do gotta lock up or however the case and either get, the pass breakup or the interception or however the case. Because, there were multiple missed interceptions. And the game would have been sealed far before and things of that nature. Run defense has to improve. 5 point something per carry for, allowed by the Cowboys, poverty O-line, poverty running back room. It's unacceptable. But luckily, there's still, a few more days, till, week 2 or however the case, 9, 10, something like that. So all that being said, defense, I probably have to give a C++. Defense did come together in the second half, didn't allow that. But if they would have even allowed a field goal in the second half or however the case, it probably would have been a D. But the fact, that they came together in the second half or however the case, I'm pretty sure in the second half is whenever Quinton Mitchell got his forced fumble and fumble recovery and things of that nature. But yeah, as a whole, they came together as a unit. They pulled the win out. And Susu Prapu got the win, 20-24, and things of that nature. And I know I'm kind of late to the party and things of that nature. Super crazy work week. I've been working overtime, but I'm not giving up on y'all. I'm still doing everything I can to keep y'all informed or however. But I do want to talk about the 53-man roster. There has been a new move. Besides the obvious ones or however the case, we did pick up Zadarius Smith. I'm pretty sure on a 1-year deal or however the case, and he's a pretty solid edge rusher, and things of that nature. So I'm definitely excited. That he's an Eagle. I know he's 31, 32. Had 4 or 5 sacks last year. So yeah, hopefully next to Jalen Carter, that can amplify, and hopefully with Nolan Smith being on the other side and potentially Jalix Hunt, things of that nature. I'm definitely excited that he's an Eagle. But yeah, that being said, super excited about Zadarius Smith, about that move. But yeah, as we know, John Mechie III, we traded for him. Um, we got him and a sixth round pick, and the compensation was tight end Harrison Bryant and a fifth, um, and things of that nature. I'm pretty sure he wore number 80 for this game. I'm pretty sure. Um, but yeah, and I do realize, he did tear his ACL. He is coming off leukemia and things of that nature, so it's not like I'm expecting him to have a 2,500 yard season. But I do really like the move. It bolsters the wide receiver room, his toughness and things of that nature, his ability to like return kicks and punts and things of that nature. Um, but yeah, he's a beast though. He has all the tools and whatnot. I strongly believe, alongside Smitty and AJ, it will help him out for the better. We also got Fred Johnson back from the Jacksonville Jaguars. We gave them a 7th round pick. That's an easy fleece, and things of that nature. I'm pretty sure he's only making $1 million, so it's a pretty cap friendly deal. We also traded Minnesota for Sam Howell and a 2027 7th round pick. The compensation was a 2026 5th rounder. I definitely like him at QB3 more than Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or however you say it, and Kyle McCord. I just don't think he's ready. So, I mean, I definitely think that respectively bolsters the quarterback room. We also traded away Darian Kennard to the Green Bay Packers for a 2027 6th round pick. I'm liking that, Howie is stacking the draft picks and things of that nature. I like that he added Zadarius Smith after the game or however. The only thing that sucks is that Antoine Powell-Ryland got cut or however the case. That was like the corresponding move, but that's understandable. Traded the Raiders for Jacorian Bennett. Gave the Raiders Thomas Booker. I'm not going to lie. I still am kind of nervous on him. I'm not really sold on him yet. Let's see some consistent pass breakups in a couple games. Consistently. Like week 2, he gets a couple pass breakups when we need it. Week 3 gets a couple. Let's see some consistency. He's good in coverage. He's good at covering. What he's supposed to cover. But in terms of tackling at points or however the case, or making a play on the ball and getting the ball out of the hands, pass breakup or an interception, that's what I feel like his problem is. But yeah, in total, Howie got 2 7th round picks, 1 6th rounder, John Mechie III, Jacorian Bennett, Sam Howell, and the total compensation was Harrison Bryant, Thomas Booker, Darian Kennard, 2 7ths, a 6th, and a 5th. All things considered, I really like the moves and things of that nature. A pretty good wide receiver to bolster that, to bolster the wide receiver room depth. A potential, potential Pro Bowl corner, or however the case. He has that potential. He just needs to work on a couple things. I'm by no means a Jacorian Bennett hater. I want everyone on the Eagles to do good. But if they're not doing good, or if there's something concerning, believe me, I am going to point it out. And if it gets proved wrong, heck yeah, I was humbly wrong. Like I was wrong about the D-line last year. It's more than good enough. 40-22, obviously. But this is a new year. Not the same players. Players left, players resigned, players did this, that, the third. But yeah, I just hope Jacorian Bennett, can get some more pass breakups and some interceptions and things of that nature. If he can, definitely be here for a while. So those are the trades in terms of signings. I do know that we brought back Marcus Epps. He returns to the Eagles. Wide receiver Britton Covey also returns to the Eagles on the practice squad. And Marcus Epps is also on the practice squad. And things of that nature. So after seeing the initial 53, I'll put it all up or however the case. My initial reaction is simply the fact that our wide receiver room is probably the best in the league. Quarterback room, at least top 10, top 5, or however the case, as a unit. And then running back room, A.J. Dillon, he was moving the chains during the preseason. He was moving the chains, during the game a little bit. It was tough to bring him down. He looked pretty healthy. The offensive line, I definitely think that could use some work in terms of depth and things of that nature. Sorry, guys, freaking allergies. But yeah, and then in terms of the defensive line, um, obviously Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, those are the obvious big names. Mora Ojimo, I think he has potential to become a big name. Gabe Hall, again, I think he has potential to be a big name as well. At linebacker, I don't care what anybody says. Like this is just a fact about life. We do have the best linebacker room. Zach Bond, Nolan Smith Jr., Jahad Campbell, Trotter Jr., Jalix Hunt. I don't really care about Aziz, Josh Uche, or Smell Munden, or have the case, until they start doing something. But, I wish them the best since they're Eagles, but, it's not like I'm going to, buy a jersey. They might not even be here next year. Quinyon Mitchell, for defensive back, sorry. Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship, Andrew Makuba, Jacorian Bennett, Dory Jackson, Mac McWilliams, Sidney Brown. The only guys I really pause just to be safe. The only guys I really like, or however the case, pause. Quinyon, DeJean, Blankenship, Makuba, Bennett. If he can keep playing well, so 50-50 on him. Mac McWilliams and Sidney Brown. They got potential, but I don't know. I got to see some more from them. And then see it from them consistently. But yeah, and then also Keely Ringo, absolute dog water. Special teams, Jake Elliott, Braden Mann, and things of that nature. As we all know, how he's not done yet. He keeps adding and, doing what he has to do to make the team as good as he possibly can. Obviously, bringing Marcus Epps back, getting Fred Johnson back, trading for John Mechie, all that's what all these moves tell me. Bringing back Britton Covey, even if it is a practice squad signing or however the case. To the best of my knowledge, we really only lost 2 players to waivers. Trevor Keegan to Dallas and Tristan McCollum to Las Vegas. I don't think, either of those are too big of a loss. I really liked Keegan. But, obviously, he wasn't a starter, so, undrafted free agent, Willie Lampkin. He's 5'11", 300 pounds. Probably, the height probably is why, he went undrafted or however. But he is super, super strong. He has super high potential. Can still pancake guys. He did look pretty good for the Rams during their preseason or however the case. I really am surprised that he didn't make their team, to be honest. But either way, one man's trash, another man's treasure. So, wish him the best, but, hey, he's ours now. So the current practice squad roster is, at running back, Audric Estime, wide receiver, Britton Covey, like I said, safety, Marcus Epps, linebacker, Chance Campbell, wide receiver, Elijah Cooks, and I'm pretty sure for the 17th spot, which is the international exemption or however the case, offensive tackle Luke Felix Fualalo, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Tight end EJ Jenkins, offensive linebacker Patrick Johnson. Sorry guys, I got mixed up. Wide receiver Terrence Marshall, QB Kyle McCord, DB Perry Nickerson. Pretty sure Holland Pierce got cut. Antoine got cut. Andre Sam, DB Ambry Thomas, Nakobe Dean is on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. And then on the reserve / injured list, you got Tyreek Castro Fields, DB, and also DB Lewis Sign, Willie Lampkin, and Johnny Wilson. Last but not least, on the reserve / designated to return, I'm pretty sure that's where they ended up stashing Miles Hinton, if I'm not mistaken. And to the best of my knowledge, this is all the up-to-date information I could possibly find. Again, I'll put all the screenshots off to the side or however, and things of that nature, and get it edited as good as I possibly can for you guys. But that being said, I really like that Audric Estime is on our practice squad. For it being a practice squad move, I think it's a great move. Now, if it would have been the 53, I'd be like, I don't know. But since it's practice squad, shoot, A plus 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 plus. And yes, there is such thing as an A plus 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 practice squad move. Absolute facts. Marcus Epps, pretty good move, or however the case. I understand he tore his ACL, but I mean, with today's medical technology, and if he's willing to put into work and things of that nature, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Excuse me. Elijah Cooks, I like his physicality and things of that nature. He tries his best out there. So you can't hate on him for that. EJ Jenkins, like to see a little more from him, or however the case. But then again, that is why he's on the practice squad. So it's all love there. But yeah, overall, pretty solid roster, pretty solid team. Definitely a lot to learn from the week 1 game, or however the case, versus Dallas. Even in a win, you can still learn something. Definitely a lot to prove on defensively, run stopping, stuff like that. But overall, super, super glad we got the win. 1-0. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for making Philly Flyover part of your day. I am so sorry that I was late on uploading and this, that, and the third. But I am trying to become more consistent and things of that nature. I've just been working a lot and been super tired, but I'm gonna try my best to make this video as good as I possibly can for you guys and things of that nature. And I will go back to at least once a week, or however the case, for sure, instead of once every 2 weeks. But that being said, thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Thanks for choosing Philly Flyover Network, soon to be the best Eagles content creation there is. That being said, if there's any feedback you guys would like to give, any corrections to it, or however the case, I did try to make it as up to date and as accurate as physically possible. But yeah, God bless. Philly out. Peace.